received what, year and a half ago. We went through the board, we went for funding, we did a lot of things, but I think he just drove it like he is. यार मुझे तुमने स्पेस में पहुंचा दिया यार, इसकी जरूरत ही नहीं है. You said there are microphones.
Live streaming we thought we need.
Oh, live streaming.
Yeah, you want it to be in the middle?
No, I understand.
For this,
Oh,
Just for that.
yeah, mic.
Anyway, let me just kick off. So thank you for the introduction, very generous. And he always mentions Falguni and the twins, so it takes away half the, more than half the credit. But anyway, I think my wife is a great example of what entrepreneurship can be, even at age of 50. But let's leave that aside for another day and we can talk over lunch. So I'm really privileged to be here. I don't normally write speeches, but this time I had to, because I haven't stood up somewhere and spoken like this. I can interact freely otherwise, but I had to impress Bhagwan so that, he can keep me involved here. My background has basically been services, okay? I'm a service guy. I worked at Citibank for 26 years, 15 years at KKR. So I really am not an entrepreneur, although I think to some extent I had entrepreneurial instincts within the large organizations and would take risk where required, enjoyed the trust of my seniors. But I think my real learnings have come only in the KKR phase, where we made a big investments and what we saw was successes and failures and the qualities of founders that succeeded and that failed. There is just no doubt the quality of founder probably matters the most. And we have had, I would say, at least 25% of our things didn't work out the way we expected, and 75 did. So I just thought I'll pen down a few thoughts, what I learned from those 15, 16 years at KKR. And I'm actually applying all of that to Sorin, which is the early stage tech fund, because now we are doing investments in the range of $3 to $7 million, some seed, mostly Series A. And I'm going to pitch for Sorin at the end of this, because nowadays even investors have to pitch, and you should obviously choose the right investors. So one of them is standing here. So I think that you're lucky that you're entering an era in India, thanks to the digitization efforts by this government and the past governments. Some of the technology innovations India has been through, like UPI and Aadhaar, it's amazing. You're entering an era where tech-led businesses or even non-tech-led businesses, if you're solving the real needs of Bharat, the real needs of multiple Indians with such a diversity in the country, I think there's no better time than that. Well, there are challenges. I won't spend too much time on that, but the macro challenges which you have to keep in mind, and you can't get away from it, is that we're still a low per capita GDP country, but it's definitely on path to double and triple in the next 3 and 5 years. And you're seeing improving infrastructure, which matters a lot to any business, because supply chains get constrained. It's not that easy. So I think those are all in a phase where we are just getting better and better as a country by the day. And that's why today you have literally thousands of startups every year. You have existing over 100,000 well-established new startups in the country in the last decade or so, and you have 120 unicorns today. So it's not just the fact that we have tremendous entrepreneurial energy, but we have a fantastic country where I think you have the privilege now of serving 140 million people, and you can really, I think, make a mark here. So I think from my perspective, either I'll just pen down few things which are important as you build your businesses, and kind of you've germinated the ideas. I was hearing Bhagwan, he said some have already got some traction, some will start from scratch. And I think I can just share with you, and some of this might sound a bit of preaching, but I don't mean to preach. But I would say number one, is taking away from ISB what you've learned in terms of some rigor, innovation, strategy, building a business, some economics, some accounting. I think the most important thing you should take away is the mentorship. I mean, try to build mentors and network that you build at ISB, and I think there can be no better takeaway, but you have to maintain them, and you have to nurture them, and you have to suss out the best from your mentors. So if you meet a guy like Mohit, you should be all over him, as to what he learned, what he didn't learn, and how he built such a successful 2 businesses, not 1. So I think the power of mentorship and networks, you have to really value them, and you have to nurture them. It takes a lot. I think one of the strengths I have, I was a relationship manager at Citibank, I was a relationship manager at KKR, and when Henry Kravis hired me to start private equity, I knew nothing about investing at the age of 50. He said, look, come, I need you in India because you've got a great network. And you can open doors for us. So I was hired for that, not for investing skills. Then alongside, I learned investing. But networks and mentorship, I think, matter a lot. But you have to reach out and you have to maintain them. It doesn't come without an effort. Yeah. I think the second thing that we are finding, as we are looking at businesses today, and if it can be of any advice to you, I think in the last, I would say 8-10 years, new companies have just taken checks from investors, and investors have just been cutting checks. And frankly, they've taken the eye off the ball in terms of helping these companies govern, have basic MI, basic cadence of meetings, basic cadence of reporting. And they have just driven growth. So I think growing at any cost has actually cost us quite a bit, frankly. And of all the stories, I don't want to name anyone, but so many of the companies have folded up or are struggling because they have taken money that has only driven one thing, which is growth, not necessarily the right inputs on governance, not necessarily the right inputs on how to build a business. But it's also incumbent upon you to not only question your investors before you raise money, that how you're going to add value to me. I just don't need the money. I also need network. I need introductions. I need clients, whatever. And in fact, Mohit was telling me on his cap table, he's got some great names in America on his cap table because they get him business. And we used to say at KKR, we're not just good for capital, but we add a lot more value than capital. And if you just want money, go to somebody else. So I think, but I'm using this as an example as to how you should select your cap table right from day one. When you start and you have angels, make sure the angels are not just big flying family names, but they are folks who can bring you some relevance in your business. Okay? If you're launching a brand business, get somebody from the brand business. If you're launching a retail business, get some people. There are so many rich families today, but make your selection carefully. And I think the underlying message is that don't try to grow at any cost. What's most important is sustainability. And I think you will see now with the new bunch of listed entities that have come and the new ones that are coming, investors are giving us a clear message. I want sustainability. I want consistency. Profits can come later, but I want to see sequential improvement in metrics. I don't want to see 30% growth. I'm happy to see 18% growth, but I want to see the unit economics all the way to the bottom, and I want to see which levers you're pressing to improve it every year or every quarter, and are you in the right direction? So sustainability of businesses, I think, is going to matter a lot, not just growth at any cost. I think the other thing is, frankly, is about having an idea, being very innovative, being very creative. But frankly, it boils down to execution. You've got to execute, and it's an everyday thing. Okay, I see my wife day in and day out, they're only talking execution challenges at home. But the fact is, that's what life is. Okay, you can't get away from intense execution. Now, for that, if you want to build a scaled business, you've got to build good teams. Okay. You've got to empower your people. You've got to have a sustainable org structure. You've got to treat your direct reports or key people as partners in the business, not just as a boss. So I think that is very critical, because if you can't execute alone, obviously, so you need a team. And then building good teams, retaining good teams, building a culture of transparency, a culture of camaraderie, openness, hearing a no for an answer, someone challenging you, very critical elements of the team that you build. And I think that execution is going to be 90% once your idea is done, right? And I would say the final two things, which are probably a little bit on the negative side, is I think that when things don't go exactly as you expect, you've got to have the humility to pivot. You've got to pivot very quickly, okay? And we've invested in some businesses where, things were not going on track, and the entrepreneur was not listening. He was not seeing the data in front of him. He was not listening to the board. He's not listening to what the stakeholders are saying. And, we found those businesses blow up, and founders just, get completely vanquished. And I think it's an important thing that you have to have the degree of humility to see where you're going wrong when data is telling you that, people are telling you that, and you've got to be able to pivot at every potential point. And I think in that, there are two words that I learned a lot at KKR. And inherent in that, I think one is intellectual arrogance or arrogance. And I think arrogance kills. Simple. Okay? If you're arrogant and you don't listen to what the environment is telling you, I think you're in for trouble, if not in the short run, definitely in the medium term. And I think inherent is another word called hubris, where you think you know it all. It's hubris. I know it. What the hell do you know? And I know it all, and stuff like that. So, and I've seen, again, can't name folks, but I've seen in my life clear examples of hubris and arrogance, and 100% businesses have run into rough weather. Okay? Then the teams get depleted, market values come down, you start losing people, ESOPs have no value, you go for another round, you go with a begging bowl, and then it just begins to unravel. And of course, some still do well, but I think those are two very important negatives which I'm positioning to you as something that you should keep at the back of your mind. I think those are really important things. I think the last one I was just going to say is that, today you're passing out from here, and I think it's a phenomenally proud day for all of you, and obviously for ISB, because this is the first and kind of the founding batch. I think you will help us differentiate the institute's branding and positioning itself. Okay, there are lots of MBA schools. I think this is the real first entrepreneurship program, and we want to scale it up. So when you go out in the world, I think the two pieces of advice, one is, obviously you got to build your business, build it the right way. I think talking positively is a good thing. I'm not making a pitch for ISB, but I think if you've enjoyed working with Professor and his team, I think we should talk about that. I think that how you carry yourself as an ISB, IVI graduate is very critical. Today, we hear of so many examples. Oh, this guy is from that institute, is like a piece of crap. So please make sure that your personality, when you step out, represents the personality of the institute, and I think it'll be tremendous for all of you. And I think finally, I think 100% of you will succeed in what you're building, but learn to reach out to folks like us. Okay, we are here. I mean, this year I couldn't come much because I was doing a lot of work for the government and overseas many months. But next year I was telling Prof, I'm going to spend more time. Reach out to us. If we can't help you, we have a network that is huge. We will introduce a network to you, and you should go meet people, both in the business, in the investment world, in the mentoring world, in the government, regulators, because your fintech businesses will touch regulators. So we can give you a span. And Flexi Loans, that's what we have done. We have helped Deepak and Manish and Ritesh to build a business with whatever little 1 hour a month we give them. But the responsibility is up to you guys to sort of come and reach out to all of us. Because, the sense of pride you're going to get if you have a successful business is just tremendous. So, I think it's a call to action. In fact, Prof, I think you already called everyone to action. And I would just say that, in fact, today the country is also celebrating startups. It's become a big deal. We're doing the Startup Mahakumbh under the Prime Minister's aegis. We did it last year in Delhi. We're doing the second edition this year. And that's the level of importance startups are getting, because you guys will create the future jobs. You guys will create the new business models. And you guys will hopefully disrupt the old business models. Just make sure you don't get disrupted. So keep your eyes and head on the shoulders, and just watch out for any of those. So again, that comes back to hubris and not saying I know everything, but just be open to things that could also threaten you. So look, the world awaits you guys, your ideas, your passion, but I think perseverance is going to be huge. You're going to hear one no, couple more no's, but you've got to keep at it. You've got to keep pivoting. And if you need help, you've got to reach out. That's very critical. Okay? And that's what, I think that is the first sign of a good human being. You've got to reach out for help. There's so many people to help you. So look, congratulations to the whole class. It's really a fantastic moment because this was conceived and it's come to life. I was there in the first board meeting and I'm here on the graduation day. So thank you for the privilege. Thank you for all of you.
Thank you, Sanjay. That was special. That meant special to us. And Soumya knows that I am always Up mic there. Only for live. Okay.
Go ahead.
Soumya knows that I'm fond of saying to people who come to ISB that whatever you say will be used against you. So Sanjay, we are going to hold you up on everything that you have promised my IB students. I'm going to send more of them to you for guidance, for funding, and for paths to the next stage. Okay. Let me first start by seeing if there are faculty who taught here, who is here. I see at least Sudhir here. Can you please? And Shonali? Okay. So thank you to faculty for, doing what you do best and giving to our students. Without you, we could not have done it. But I want to introduce somebody else today, which was the second part of it. So faculty, we sort of took a role here, but as you all know, that we took a secondary role. Unlike in the PGP program, where faculty take the most important role, homeworks, assignments, grading, we did none of that. Because your exam was building your business, and you are still taking that exam, and you will continue taking it. But the second important piece was alumni, who actually came and told you how it is to be in the trenches to make a business. I have to say that it was incredible. It was incredible how alumni came and helped us. And I think all of you would agree with me that the connections they brought, the insights they brought were unparalleled. I don't think there is any other program where you get such an insightful, and some of my faculty, both alumni and faculty. So today I'm going to introduce Mohit to you. You have already been here. You have already heard him at least twice before. He spent time with you. But I want to introduce him a little bit for the parents who may not have, who are here, who may not have. So, Mohit founded Mind Tickle, which he sold, one unicorn business, and now he's founded another company that he talked about when he was talking to you, OLOID. Mohit has a master's degree from Stanford, an MBA from Kellogg, but he really wanted to learn India. So he came to ISB to get a PGP degree in 2006, is that right? 2006. Now Mohit is back in the Bay Area and he's building another ISB there with a bunch of his colleagues. So I have spent a lot of time there in Bay Area, where there are a number of alumni who are involved in entrepreneurship, and they stay in places like Surajnagar, where he stays, Sunnyvale, and Paharganj, Mountain View, and many other, and he's building that ecosystem here. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to start something in Silicon Valley, another piece of iVenture in Silicon Valley. And some of you will get to go there and build your businesses there as well. So without further ado, Mohit, please come and say a few words. I have to say that Sanjay asked me when we were designing this program, what do you consider a success for Ivy? And I have two answers for him. One was you guys, but the second answer was, to what extent will alumni be engaged in this program? And Sanjay, I have to tell you that these folks gave their heart and soul in making this program work. And the reason your fees are 6 lakhs and not 30 is because they do it without charging us any fee. So they give us our time. So thank you, Mohit, and please say a few words to them.
Thank you, Dr. Thackeray. You guys can hear me in the back? All good? Yeah. It's really good to be back. Lots of familiar faces. Last time I met for a very short duration, most of you. but I think each of you left an impression on me. In fact, I was looking at the faces like, okay, yeah, this is the person who's doing sports, revolutionizing how sports management is done, and like I talked to a few of you even afterwards. We did follow-up calls. Sorry I didn't get back to all of you. I do mean to. So to Sanjay's point, please bug me. Yeah, but yeah, I have a lot of thoughts I wanted to share, but as I heard Dr. Chaudhary share his thoughts, there's one insight which wasn't in my preparation today, which I wanted to share with you. So if you look at Dr. Chaudhary, when he speaks from the heart, right? And I think as a founder, that is one thing which is a superpower that you should never ever underestimate. So I have my points, I'll go through them, but it'll be an amiss if I don't highlight this insight that immediately resonated with me, right? He sings from the heart, he speaks from the heart, he believes in this, he's passionate. I mean, he's a perfect example of a pitch, right? Your pitch is not about your left brain, all my data. That's required. But if you got all of that, there's no soul in your business, it's not going to be enjoyable, it's not going to resonate. So yeah, I got into Gyan right away, but I thought I don't want to miss that point. But first of all, congratulations, you've been here 6 months. If I go back to 2005, when I made a decision to come back to India and spend a year at ISB, I will admit it, I didn't know what I was going to get from an MBA from a learning standpoint. Now I think that was like really, it doesn't reflect well on me, but I knew this was going to be fun. It's going to be a 1-year immersive program. I had already worked for several years, and I was looking forward to build a community, build friends. And the fact that I've spoken with some of you and they've built lasting relationships, I think that's success already. So let me start by congratulating you for spending this few months committing to your growth journey, committing to learning, committing to becoming a better version of yourself. That itself says something about you, because we can go about the motions of doing things, right? We can go about building a startup and not being thoughtful about what we're building, why we're building. And the fact that you took it upon yourself to potentially, for different reasons, that you all joined, but I think one common theme would have been you want to build a better version of yourself, right? That itself, I think, deserves recognition. You should feel good about having committed to that decision, stuck with the decision, right? And it's not easy, right? It's not easy on multiple parameters. You've all had to make sacrifices to be here. So congrats and thank you for committing to this program. Like Dr. Chaudhary said, Sanjay said, first cohort is very special. So you all will always be in this special founding cohort of IB program. So that's really excited for you all. So few thoughts. I just made some bullet point notes to make sure I touch upon them, right? In general, in my experience, both working in startups and then founding startups, when I distill my decisions on how I went about my journey, it came down to 3 needs that I was trying to fulfill. Need to learn, need to earn, and need to express myself. And I think the best examples I share to help further elaborate what that means is, if you think about an artist and a non-cricketing sports player, right? I have to say non-cricketing because in India, cricket has a completely different stature, right? I can guarantee you, somebody who chose to be an artist or a non-cricketing sports person had to face a lot of rejection. Right from the parents would have said, don't do it. There's no money to be made. Dad, I want to be an artist. No, you're not becoming an artist, right? So if somebody you meet is doing something of that nature, they have committed their lives to expressing themselves. They chose it above earning. They chose it above everything else, right? So we all have an inherent need to express ourselves. We're not able to express ourselves all the time. Obviously, we have the need to learn, need to earn. Founding a company, in my opinion, I've done management consulting. I've been an employee. I was a programmer. After my EE, I was writing bits and bytes code for routers. Based on my experience, I can tell you, being a founder is the only way you can do all 3: learn, earn, and express yourself. And this to me is a distillation of why I choose to do what I do, right? If you are doing your execution discipline, being mindful, thoughtful about your business, knowing your customer, you do the basics, earning will follow. It's always a side effect. You can't engineer for earning success, right? But the journey you're going to have as a founder, like I feel very privileged, second-time founder. The platform it creates, it puts you into all these situations which a normal job will not, right? You have the privilege of working with very high quality people, investors like Sanjay, who've had tremendous careers. Normally, if you were, let's say, even a senior manager or director, you won't get audience with Sanjay. You won't get to be in a board with Sanjay. So there's a huge amount of privileges you get, and you have to earn them, right? So you're not day one going to get them. But the platform it creates in terms of being able to hire high quality people better than yourself and working with them. Also the privilege of becoming somebody that people look up to, in some sense you're creating employment. Think about the number of platform opportunities this creates for you. And now I'll flip it over. Really tough things you have to do. Tough things about letting people go. It's part of building startups. Tough things about facing rejection, and you come from a board meeting, you come from a VC pitch which didn't go well, and you have to come back and face your team, and you're smiling, right? You're just braving it with your foundational beliefs. It does make you a better version of yourself. So this journey that you're committed to, right? It's not just something where you can look at the surface, at the space, and you can say there's all these successful founders who've now very popular in the media. That's just the surface. The internal journey, the growth journey you're going to experience, to me that's the real deal. It's the real product behind the facade of the startup founder journey. So I really encourage you to think about the compounding effects of doing this in early part of your professional journey. I would say, most of us in the room in the cohort are folks who have still, yet to invest decades of professional journey, right? You're probably in the first decade, second decade, potentially, right? Think about the 3, 4, 5 decades ahead of you. If you go through this rigor, the smelting of the furnace of the startup, which it is, by the way, right? I mean, we'll all talk about the fancy part of the startup life, but it is a furnace that in which you're going to smelt, and you're going to go through a lot of hardships along the way. Think about the compounding effects of being able to. I'll actually share an example with you. I sucked at public speaking when I joined ISB. I became the president of technology club, and the first thing they do is, first session they asked me go speak, and they put me, I think we had a speaker and I was to introduce the speaker. I was stammering, and one of the ISB admin people, he commented on me. He said, "Oh, you're not ready, you botched it up," right? And he was unkind in his words, and really hit me hard. But that was the first time I got rejection after 8 years of working. In 8 years, everybody was nice to me. Right, my boss was nice to me. Feedback was also sugar coated. The sandwich feedback. I'll say one nice thing about you, then I'll give you critical feedback, then say one more nice thing to you. That's what happens. Where in the cocoon of your parent being nice to you, your boss being nice to you, people are generally very politically correct. Once in a startup, it's deal or no deal, right? Your startup, your pitch didn't land with me. VC is like, you got to do research, right? You suck at this. Your employee is telling you, hey, this is my feedback. You interview a person and you're very hopeful that person will join. The person tells you, no, I have better things to do. So imagine getting all of this rigor, a lot of this melting in the early part of your professional journey. So of course your startups, I wish you the best, you will do well. But even if you were to iterate, pivot, and decide that's not working out, and you chose to fold, chose to shut down, it is not a waste at all. It is an investment you made into becoming a better version of yourself. And I guarantee this is going to be one of the best things you'll thank yourself for, right? My nephew just graduated from YC, and he was working with UiPath. Prior to that, he worked in SoFi in the Silicon Valley. So he has this tremendous resume, right, which on paper sounds like he would have been learning so much. He is 6 months into his startup journey, of 3 months of which were at YC. I can tell you, 6 months, the transformation I've seen in that nephew of mine is amazing, right? So I'm sure you guys can relate in your own ways, but again, congratulate yourself on the compounding effects you're going to see in the next few decades because of the decision you made to be here and to found, right? I can't tell you how I'm excited about you going through the next few years, building on what you've learned. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm very excited about as a broad theme. Company I'm building is a cybersecurity company, so B2B, large enterprise sales, large deals like $500,000, $1 million deals, long sales cycles. I am seeing an opportunity unfold right now in my space, and I think in every space, which should create massive shift in spending patterns over the next few years, right? So the 2-letter word everybody's talking about, AI, no, there's no talk today without mention of those letters, right? But I want to break it down for you how you can think in your own context on what opportunity is creating for you. So give or take about $10 trillion of value displacement is going to happen in the next decade or so, right? And you can argue whether this is additional or displacement. I will not even get into that. And economists can get into that. There are lots of people who are experts who can get into that. But I can tell you one thing. The number of people who took meetings in my startup 2 years ago with a cold outreach versus now has shot up like crazy. People are a lot more open to new ideas. In every single board, I can guarantee you, and Sanjay can affirm to this, right? Every single board, every single executive team is being asked how they're going to adapt to this transition in the world. So if you are doing B2B company, right? I know we have B2B companies I've spoken with, right? Do not bring the old playbook to the new world, right? The old playbook was, I have this funnel, how I run my business, I'm going to do this outbound or whatever demand generation, and I'll run through my funnel, and this is my messaging, these many people will respond. I would say both on the GTM, go to market side and product side, you have to unlearn a lot of the playbooks, right? So if you're going back and reading HubSpot blogs from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, building your business based on that, I would say that's very soon becoming obsolete. So rethink in this. Let me elaborate more, right? So I was at a conference called SaaS Boomi earlier this week, and I went through a lot of presentations where they talked about the revenue per employee was about $100,000 to $200,000 per employee about 2-3 years ago. Best in class was 300. Today, companies who are using AI and leveraging it both in their internal operations, which is building product, engineering, QA and whatnot, and also in go-to-market, they are likely to have at least 500,000 per employee type of productivity, right? Now, for you to embrace this new era is not a competitive advantage, let me tell you, right? If you think AI is going to help you win, that is not true. It is bare passing marks. It is the right to be in business today by embracing tools and technology. So do not bring your old playbook to this new era. A lot of value creation is going to be done. My background is B2B, so a lot of examples I share is B2B, but in B2C as well, right? If you think spending on SEM and doing performance marketing the traditional way is the way to build a business, please think hard. Please think hard, because you already know that is not delivering, right? You have to think about fundamentally how you can use completely new models, how you can completely change the pace at which you create content. I can tell you in my team itself, I have 5 less hires in marketing because of the tools we're using. From content generation, video production, everything that we do, which is any written content, audio, video content, we are 80% more efficient So I would say I'm a B2B guy, but from your B2C standpoint, do not use the old playbook. Be a student of how fast you can learn. Just checking the box of saying I use ChatGPT is not enough. You have to be thinking, sit down with your team, right? So you probably use small teams right now, right? Sit down and be thinking about what are the 5 ideas which can be disruptive, where you can do things faster, better than your peers and competitors, and how can you truly differentiate? Because today you can have the best artist, best script writer, best content generator, best video generator at your fingertips. This opportunity was not available even 3 years ago. So do not bring your old playbook to this new era, is my strong recommendation. But one thing I do want to highlight, that the basics will not change. So while you can find new, better ways of skilling your team, doing things better, the fundamentals of becoming a meaningful business will not change. And the fundamentals Sanjay talked about, being a ethical, governance-driven business, holding a high standard for your team, holding a high standard in hiring, holding high standards across the board around execution discipline. Those do not go away. So one thing which, I'm a parent, I have 2 kids. I can tell you, while the startup has taught me a lot, parenting has taught me a lot more, right? When you are a founder, pretty much a lot of your team members are not going to be, at least initially, you're not hiring very senior people. You're going to hire up-and-comers. They're taking a bet on you as a startup. You're taking a bet on them, right? You will be put in a position where you have to coach, guide, and mentor them. Take that very, very seriously. Again, that will not only help them, it will help you becoming a better version of yourself. So the fundamentals don't change. The fundamentals, so I'll not repeat them. It's not like AI suddenly it takes away the need to be a strong founder or having strong skills as a leader. The basics are the same. You have to pursue the basics. Do not chase AI like a fad for the sake of it. Do not chase any new thing that is coming up. If people say, hey, your pitch and this didn't land right with me and I think you should be doing this, listen to them, right? But your convictions and belief, I have this notion I share a lot with my team about the foundational belief of a startup, right? So always be going back to the day you decided with your co-founders or team that this is what we're going to pursue, right? So it can also change, but once you commit, right? So I'm saying you started out, said, I want to broadly do something in, let's say, marketing using influencers, and I want to reduce cost of customer acquisition, right? What was that insight that drove that interest in building something, right? That foundational insight, if you truly believe in it, it is a bedrock, it's an anchor for you. Every time you face rejection, every time you are trying to convince somebody and they are not convinced, right? It can chip away and take a bit of your confidence away, right? But if you have that foundational belief, it's very strong, and keep going back to it, right? Sometimes what happens is you are standing here, but the world beneath you will change. You have to revisit your foundational beliefs, right? If I said recruitment agency is what I wanted to build, but the world was going remote, and my, let's say, strong value proposition was I hired locally and I bring you the best talent in this zip code or this 10-mile radius. With remote hiring, you have to go revisit your foundational belief. It was a very strong business in a certain era, but the time has changed. So it's not like you have to stick with your foundational beliefs forever, but the foundational beliefs will help you not to be swayed away by fads. Every time 3 people come to you, and especially, this is time I'll take a dig of VCs. VCs will just share with you and dispense many times. Some VCs will dispense, what's the flavor of the month, right? My 3 portfolio companies are doing that, you should also do this, right? That is true for those portfolio companies. You don't know their context. You understand your customer, you know your context. Go back to the foundation belief, do not be swayed by fads. So it's almost like I'm contradicting myself, right? I said, hey, do leverage AI and then don't stick with fads. Actually, both are true, right? You have to evaluate what are the tools, resources available to you, but then do not let your foundational beliefs to be shaken. And if you stick with that, you're going to be inspiring. One thing you have to do as a founder, you just don't have a choice. Your beliefs have to inspire. You have to inspire your team. You have to inspire your investors. You have to inspire your family for a better future. Like, I've not talked about family, but one of the things your friends and family you're going to take time away from them, right? You have to inspire them for a future, for your family, for your team. I talk about wealth creation with my team. Some of them truly care about the value of stock options, and I have to show them that future world, how these options are going to be meaningful for their goals, for their professional journey. So that will happen when you truly believe in that, go back to that foundational belief and keep on reinforcing. Now, one concept around this is local maxima versus global maxima. Most of you are conceptually familiar with what that is, right? From math class, you have a graph, you have local maxima, and you can get global maxima, right? Now, one thing to always believe is VCs are always excited about global maxima. So this is common knowledge, but not so common if you're the first-time founder. VC is a very asymmetric industry. If I make 20 investments, the best-in-class VCs, 2 investments will return the entire fund or more, right? So if you are a practitioner as a VC, you are, let's say, a career VC, you actually don't care about, so if let's say it was a portfolio of 20, 2 extraordinary performance and 6 did really well, and let's say the rest didn't work out. The 6 did really well. These companies could have had hundreds of millions of dollars when exit. I'm talking about 400 million exit, 300 million exit. The reality is, sadly but true, VCs actually don't care about those as much. So if you're going in and you're pitching that I'm going to be this 400 million value company, right? I'm just making numbers up. You have to play the game. Actually, VCs are not excited about that. We are excited because first-time founder, I can tell you if I got a $400 million exit, my company was valued at 1.2, but I would have been happy at 400, right? It would have been success for me, right? So you have to understand that the incentives and thought process of a founder, how you think about your team, and what you're pitching doesn't always have to be the same. You have to understand the psyche of your customer, you have to understand the psyche of your investor, you have to understand the psyche of your employee. And you're not misstating facts, but you're always gunning for the global maxima in a certain audience, but also keeping in mind what's the local maxima you can design for today, in this year, next year. This typically translates into your choice of markets. I'll give you an example. My company is a cybersecurity company. We started with manufacturing as our first vertical. Manufacturing in US is not a very big vertical, but today we have about 60% share of that market, of a smaller market, right? Healthcare is actually a much bigger market. Healthcare will catapult us into potentially even a $1 billion revenue company, but we didn't start there, right? But when pitched, we pitched the whole vision of global maxima. We said, you know what, we're going to start with manufacturing. We have a whole plan on how there's a very strong competitor in that space. Because it's competitive, we're not starting red ocean, we're starting blue ocean. We painted a story of how we're going to build the local maxima and then go to the global maxima. So always be thinking about what this means in your business, because what you can do is fall into the trap where somebody tells you only go for the global maxima. You don't get the initial win in the smaller market, which is penetrable. Your product has much higher chances of succeeding in a less competitive market. And then you have the resources to going after something much bigger. So as much as you can start relating to how this is meaningful in your business, it applies to both B2C and B2B. Always be thinking about local maxima versus global maxima, and speak for your audience, right? Founder is rarely ever lying. They're just different versions of their narrative, and you change your narrative according to your audience. That's totally fine, right? So final few thoughts I'll share is when I think about my first time founding journey versus the second time, I'll be honest with you, first time was much harder, was like first love. It was special, right? Because you actually did not know a lot of things, you did not know fear. You actually were very naive, I was very naive. And that made it really special because you are not operating from a quick assessment of things and coming at decisions based on baggage, right? Now I've already learned certain things. So when I approach a person, I'm less likely to take a bet on somebody I would have taken a bet in my first startup. Like, I've seen the story play out. Oh, this person didn't work out, that didn't work out. I made a lot of mistakes, but I also made a lot of bets which I would not take now. Now, what happens as a result is journey becomes a tad insipid. It becomes a little more programmatic. It becomes a little more formulaic. My second startup, you can actually look at all my hiring and you can say, it's almost like I hire well-experienced people who are functional, who are doing hands-on work. And then when I go from seed to Series A, then I hire a leader to take over that function, right? So it's almost like I'm running a formula now. Now, formula does two things. It reduces risk. It also attracts higher level of investment, higher quality of team. The soul and the fun gets depleted. So I had so much more fun building my first startup, from an interpersonal, just the team was in it mostly for the fun of being with one another. The ratio of soldiers to mercenaries was very much weighted in the ratio of soldiers, and I have a lot more mercenaries now. Mercenaries were really good, sharpshooters. But enjoy your first startup. Enjoy the fact that even though it is hard, you will not be taken as seriously. The flip side is you'll be rewarded by almost say family-like company building experience. Maybe second-time founders do that even second time, but at least for me, the flavor texture is quite different. So enjoy your first time. And a related point is, this is a team game. This is a team game with your family. It's with your friends. It's with your community. Like, this is your extended family. The relationships you've forged here, hopefully they are for life. But I kid you not, you're going to have up moments, down moments. You're going to need help. As much as you can count on other people to bank upon, and as many people you have on WhatsApp and speed dial, and you can talk to them. This is maybe the biggest thing you'll take away from this 6 months, right? Because I can almost think about if I plotted a graph of number of friends you make, right? School keeps going up, college shoots up because now you're living with them, right, in a hostel potentially. And then once you start working, new to friendships, I'm talking about not just friendships, new to friendships plummeted for me, dropped. Like, ISB again shot up, right? Now, what happens is these 6 months that you get, this is almost like a steal. It's a cheat. It wasn't meant to be, right? School was meant to be, college was meant to be. This was not meant to be. So you got to cheat, right? So take advantage of this relationships you built. I kid you not, if I think about my first few customers in my first startup came from my ISB classmates. I convinced them, like, take a bet on my product. And they talked to their bosses, took a bet on the product, right? So customers will come to them. In my team today, although I have a lot of experienced people, a lot of the experienced people have come from referrals from my network. So the best people will come when, at least early stage, where you are also weighing things a lot more in terms of can they adapt to the early stage and uncertainty versus somebody's worked in a big company. Referrals from your network, right? So I can't even emphasize, a lot of my investment decisions have been on endorsement from my friends, founder friends, who've said, I've worked with this VC, they're really good in my board. So yeah, I mean, that counts a lot. So your network is going to be hugely valuable. So do not undervalue network. I'll then finish by saying, believe in a value. I actually was also part of Stanford's accelerator, StartX. I'm very involved in that community. I'll share something very interesting, and you don't see in the Indian context. When they make an intro to a startup, and Dr. Chaudhary, this is very interesting, right? The copy that their StartX CEO uses, he will write to a potential customer or VC, he'll say, I am introducing you to this StartX company. It is a privilege for you to get 30 minutes with this startup because this founder will blow your socks off, right? Every single intro that he makes he flips the whole power equation. He will never make an intro making it sound like the startup needs that person's time. He'll always flip it, right? Now, he does that because his personality is like that, right? His mindset is around, he truly believes that what startup founders have to offer is so valuable. And this is true when in my startup journey, whenever I meet a customer or investor, I actually end up educating them. Almost every time they learn something from me, right? Now, can they say it for most meetings they have during the day? Probably not, right? So think about how you flip that in your head. Because when we go into a meeting, we go into a power equation. If we give up power going in, I'm telling you, the outcomes are not going to be as favorable. So mental exercise for all of you, think about going into any interaction, any meeting. What is the power equation, value equation, where you are going to give a lot more value than you're going to take? Every investor meeting, I can tell you, that exists. You just haven't thought about it. You haven't thought about it in that context. So believe in your value. Spend the time to think about the power equation into every meeting. Flip it in your head before you go to a meeting. I tell you, the complexion, quality of the meeting will be very different. It'll be not where we tend to do. We go in and say this person is senior, is older, sir, please may I come in, and all that. No, it's where you're going in. It's a partaking in a conversation of equals. Maybe you have more to offer, but it doesn't matter, right? It's not about being arrogant. Again, don't take me as now you need to be arrogant, but do not give up value very easily. Believe in your value, and as you grow, succeed. My only request to you is give back. This cohort, this program, I'm sure will continue to flourish. You as a founding cohort have a huge responsibility to be torch bearers, and I'm sure some of the success that you will see will get attributed to the relationships you made, the program you had, the advice you had, the guidance you had. Do not lose sight of the fact that if you give back, then you are helping further cohorts be more successful. This is an ecosystem play. So please, I urge you to come back, be part of the community, support the community, give back. That is a promise I want from each one of you. So that's all I had today. Wish you all the luck. Really pleased to see you all. Good luck.
Yeah. I'll request Sanjay and Mohit to now please help with the certificate distribution. What does this certificate mean to you? It means 50 friendships that you have created. Some of them you're going to remember fondly, some of them you're going to remember not so fondly, but you're going to remember all of them. So as Mohit said, this community that you have built today, that's what this certificate represents. So Sucheta is going to read out the names, and please come. And they are in order, right? Yeah. So don't wait until your name is called. Please line up so that we can do it fast. And we are going to finish with a speech by the student valedictorian. So we want to do this quickly. Okay.
Anya Deva Bhaktu.
Just give it like that. Huh? Open it. Or just give it like this.
Adarsh Kaviraj.
Join the group photo.
Alef Thakkar.
Student के साथ.
That's okay.
I'll help you. That's okay.
That's fine.
Oh yeah, thank you.
अमृत जुनेजा
मेरी कर्मों का फल है मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ मेरी
Yes, yes.
अनीशा होगा आर्यन भार्गव आवेश बनानी अभिषेक बैनर्जी भाविका छेबू
Thank you so much.
दिविज आहूजा गौतम गोविंद हिमांशु मेवारा इमरान बनानी रितिशा ईशान रहमान जानवी सिकारिया जपनूर संधू जॉनी शेख खुशी मित्तल कृष्ण प्रिया मणिरत्नम मुकल्ला मोहम्मद यूसुफ Monica Tiwari. Murlidharan Senthil. Namita Raingodar. Nishi Bordia. Paras Agarwal. Pranjal Garg. Prasad Chakor. Pritesh Raj.
Step up.
Priyanshi Jogani. Raj Samitha. Rishi Holani. Ritik Sahu.
For a good founder.
Samat Agarwal.
Dear.
Sandhi Srivastava. Shilpi Daya.
Shilpi, congrats. Come from Singapore.
Thank you.
Only one from Singapore.
Yes.
What are you building?
I'm building a freelancing platform for women in Asia.
Okay. Wow, that's good. Good idea. Good idea.
Shivangi Kalra.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Platform is connected to
Okay.
Shivansh Bhalla. Shatakshi Dubey.
Best ideas. Best many of the ideas.
Sneha Prabhu.
You were here early enough. You were sitting there early on. What are you making? Garbage monitor? Waste monitor.
Shrikar Basireddy. Party anniversary. Shrihita Vanguri.
What do you think? Vodka or not? It was a good party yesterday. Congratulations.
Tushar Saluja.
What party animal?
Nice to meet you, Tushar.
You're also very popular.
Vaibhav Agrawal.
We're all good friends. Like that.
Yeah.
Vidushi Kumar.
Congrats.
Yash Chamadia. Gadhadi. Yash Gadhade.
Thank you so much. Help manufacturers stock with their stock with their Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely.
Yotri Jain.
You know, she can with you first. Last for the best. Best for the last. Have another.
कहाँ है बाबूलाल?
Okay, now the student speech. That's right. Yeah. So,
Will be seated with the valedictory speech and then
you have to go
after
to
this
the
we'll proceed to the group.
Back in a second.
yeah.
Where do I go? Nearby?
Yeah.
I'll just come back.
Yeah. Right here.
All the oldies need to go.
सिर्फ लैप डांस के लिए फंडिंग इसको लैप डांस फोटो शेयर
Thank you.
If you want the mic, bro, dekh le. Let's go. Let's start? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
No.
Ma'am, I'll need the phone.
Thank you.
So, how many parents are here? Parents and relatives. Please, sir, can I see you? Okay. Thank you for coming here.
My phone?
Thank
उधर
you
रखते
for
हैं।
supporting.
किधर?
Your kids. Let me just say that with the
अपने में करते हैं।
certificate they got, they're still not married, right? They still have to work hard and to get there, but thank you for supporting them. They're going to need you even more. So thank you. Please give them.
Let's go. Shivansh.
Well, wow, we made it. We survived IVI. We endured sleepless nights, endless pitch decks, existential crises about our startups. And for some of us, questionable dietary choices, thanks to Goyals. But here we are, standing on the other side, not just as entrepreneurs, but as change makers, as impact players, and the people who will make society move forward. Now, before I go into the sentimental bit, let's talk about one of the most underrated parts of our time here, the music room. That place where stress met sound, where deadliness dissolved into melodies, and where, let's be honest, a lot of us hid from responsibility. Speaking of music, have you ever noticed how everything just becomes amazing with music? Suddenly, the memories hit differently. Like walking into IVI on the first day. The excitement, the nerves, the realization that we just signed up for 6 months of madness. This journey, it was like a blind date. You show up thinking you're the next Steve Jobs, only to realize by week 2 that you're just actually an intern to your own startup. You pitch your idea hoping for a validation, and instead, you get Professor Siddharth looking at you and saying, anyways, it's your funeral. But we kept going because that's what entrepreneurs do, right? We don't quit, we don't back down, we pivot, we reiterate, and sometimes we pretend to know what we are actually doing until it actually works. Now, of course, no journey is complete without its characters. Some people in this batch, for instance, run purely on adrenaline and nicotine. Then there's Samarth. If there was a business model for monetizing laughter, this man would have already IPO'd. And his birthday party, historic. I still don't know if we were just celebrating him or just attending a case study on peak party FOMO. And then there is Gigi, a resident enigma. I swear half this batch spent more time figuring out what Gigi actually does. We never fully understand Gigi's business model, but bro, we respect it. And well, every great story has its legends, the 4 titans, the unshakable forces, the ones wait. The ones who, for better or worse, made their presence very known. And in Ivy, we had our own Big 4. They were everywhere, loud, ever present, impossible to ignore. You'd think they ran the place, but they did. I'm talking about staff, housekeeping, Sampurna and Rec. What else? Now let's get real for a second. Some of us got funding, some of us didn't. And that's okay. Because funding is not validation. Your vision is. Steve Jobs did not get funded on his first attempt. Neither did Airbnb, nor did Sarah Blakely. But they built billion-dollar businesses from just like $5 grand. To those who secured funding, congratulations. You've taken a crucial step forward. And to those who didn't, the journey isn't over. In fact, it's only the beginning. Remember, persistence beats resistance. Success is game of resilience, and as long as you keep showing up, you're still in the game. And what a ride it has been. This course didn't teach us about business models, market validation, and scaling strategies. It gave us something more, far more important. A front row seat to the madness that is called entrepreneurship. We learned how to pitch with confidence even when we were shaking inside, how to handle rejection with a straight face while internally screaming, and how to surround ourselves with people who challenge and inspire us. Ivy didn't just shape our startups, it shaped us. It gave us the courage to take risks, the resilience to keep going, and the sheer audacity to believe that we can and we will change the world. That's what we do as entrepreneurs, right? We may not be able to change the whole world in one go, but we can change something. We can make a difference, and when enough of us decide to do that, the world transforms. So as we step out on the campus and into the chaos of the real world, let's take everything we have learned and build something incredible. Let's be the founders who create jobs, disrupt industries, and solve real problems, because the world doesn't change on its own. It changes when people like us decide to build better. To Ivy, to the professors, to every all-nighter, every failed pitch, every breakthrough moment, thank you. And to my fellow entrepreneurs, this is just the beginning. Let's go change the world. And wait.
I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by and weep not for memory. I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by and weep not for all right, thank you guys.
Let's go.
Thank you. Thanks.
Please collect yourself at the gallery area. Please move forward first.
Job, very well done. I'm very, very happy, very proud of you guys. Very proud.
Guys, move fast. Please take your certificates with yourself for the photograph.
Sure. You are very
9:30 late.
so proud of you. So proud of you, bro. So nicely. Certificate well deserved. Well deserved. Got it. Yeah. Get excited. Studied us with उसके बाद जब हमारे साथ निकल रहे हो तो शक्ल पे स्ट्रगल दिख रही है
stand, all of them can stand. Standing.
Hi,
अनवर एक ही मिनट सेंटर है क्या नहीं चेक करेंगे इधर इधर थोड़ा इस तरफ कर और थोड़ा करो बस 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 इतना काफी है और पीछे करवाना like or thoda we should we move that even more better little bit better. Anwar thoda और पीछे कर दो. Should we move it to closer to the this thing only? But enough, right? Anwar, bus. कभी हम सीधा एक मिनट चलता है आपके फेवरेट पे. Anwar. अनवर इस तरफ का थोड़ा पीछे है थोड़ा आगे बस ओके इट्स गुड ठीक है ना माइक और कुछ नहीं
లైటింగ్ ఓకేనా పెంచనా లైటింగ్ ఓకేనా పెంచనా
Can you come this way? I need that. Ma'am, you can come this side actually. Come this side.
So we'll join after this photo.
We'll join. You guys take one.
One photo. ऊपर तो स्पेस है ना
చేయనా ఇంకా సెట్ అవ్వలేదు
Here, no? Yeah.
Everyone here?
Just tell someone.
Everyone here?
Yes.
Who's the main camera? Smile.
అలా అయిపోగానే ఆపండి కొన్ని ఆన్లైన్ చాలా
Can everyone cheer for a moment? Cheer, please. Louder!
ఇప్పుడు దాకా మధ్యలో రాను మూమెంట్ ఇవ్వకు మెయిన్ మూమెంట్ అవే కదన్నా
That side you join. No, don't worry.
Okay, ready, ma'am?
One minute. Balloons.
అందరికి ఇచ్చారు మచ్చా, అందరికి ఇచ్చారు.
నువ్వేమో ముందుకు మూమెంట్ ఏమి కాన్ఫిడెంట్
వైడ్ పెట్టేసి వదిలేస్తాను.
మీ ఇద్దరు పొజిషన్ తీసుకోండి కావాలంటే చేలలో చేలలో ఉన్నాయి గుర్తులే కానీ ఇల్లైతే అందరు తీసాను, అందరికి అందుకే వస్తూనే ఉన్నారు, ఇస్తూనే ఉన్నారు.
బ్రో స్టార్టింగ్ ఎవరు అని ఆమె తర్వాత ఎండింగ్ వచ్చేసి లేదు ఫస్ట్ ఒక్కరు తీసుకున్నారు, ఒక్కరు లేదన్న ఈయన నేను వెళ్ళిపోయి కావాలంటే
వెళ్ళిపోయి మధ్యలో అయిపోతుంది చెట్లు పొజిషన్ ఇవ్వాలి.
ఒక్కరికి మాకు
స్పీడ్ ఎక్కువ పెట్టేసుకో, టెన్షన్ లేదు. ఓకేనా, నేను లోలో పెట్టుకుని అది వచ్చేది తీసుకుంటాను. నేనా వస్తున్నాను ఇంకా కొంచెం వెంటనే బ్యాగ్ బ్రో కొంచెం ఇచ్చారా, కొంచెం అట్లా రైట్ సైడ్ ఉన్నా నీకు ఓకే పొజిషన్. సెకండ్ అయితే వాళ్ళ పేరు ఓకే ఓకే సెకండ్ అయితే పేరు రావడం. కూల్ వాటర్ రెడీ చెప్పేసి హూస్ కౌంటింగ్? yes yeah everyone 2 1